It's the 4th of December in the year 5500. 3 people have just crash landed in the middle of a rainforest. Their names are Enigma, Hidden, and Xevious Bread, of course, my loyal commenters. And they have an insatiable need to craft nuclear bombs. They also have a crippling addiction to pot and will fall into a coma if they go more than 9 days without it. I invite you to join me and my commenters on the journey to blow up poor people with nuclear bombs. Thank you for watching. Now, as our heroes depart on their epic mission to blow up all the poor people in Rimworld with nuclear bombs, they of course start by rolling joints in the machining lab. Priority number 2 is to put down the local tribespeople using their bolt-action rifles. Now this didn't go well, as the tribal people used ancient magic and spewed fire from their mouths all over Hidden, causing severe burns. Immediately following this, an unknown assailant lit our storage room on fire, causing the stockpiled chem fuel to explode and cover said storage room in a thick white fluid. Bear with me, I'm aware that we're not off to the best start, but things will come around. For example, later that day we were able to get basic machining and our loading bench for ammo up, meaning that we could start producing lethal weapons. The first of said lethal weapons that we made was this massive recoilless gun that shoots high explosive anti-tank rounds that weigh about 25 pounds each. This is of course necessary to hold back the endless storm of Black Friday shoppers and homeless people. I mean, just look at those shells. That's what freedom looks like, son. It was around this time that I also decided that we should start producing custom ammunition to hold back our enemies, which I will be referring to as the impoverished. Now, to keep them back, I manufactured custom ammunition with an explosive core on the inside, completely steel jacket, and a uranium tip, just to make sure that they realize that it's not worth ever coming back. Now, to ensure that all these happy little dreams in my head were fully realized, that meant it was time to begin the Great Mining Crusade, which meant that 24 hours, completely around the clock, I had every one of our followers and colony workers just straight up in the mines every single day. I assure you that they did like it, and that there were 0 complaints actually. In fact, by utilizing the secret corporate technique of kidnapping their families and holding them at gunpoint, they didn't even complain a single time. In fact, they really seemed to enjoy mining. Now, with our abundance of metal that we obtained ethically and responsibly, it was time to make a radio communication room so that I could start trading my wares with the rest of the world. We're going to be like Amazon, but if Amazon sold bombs and fully automatic machine guns. Now, unfortunately, around this time, we were attacked once more by the impoverished. No matter though, for I used the fully automatic grenade launcher mounted on a tripod that I had previously installed in the backyard, and the problem was taken care of swiftly. The best part is, unlike real life when I do this, they can't even call the police on me, because there are no police here. I am the law. Now, due to our recent success of blowing up the impoverished, I figured it was time to start developing nuclear weapons. So that's exactly what I did. Now, if any of you loyal viewers are wondering why this video is perhaps a week late, that would be due to the fact that I was playing the Rimatomics mod. The Rimatomics mod does not want you to have fun or a social life. Instead, you must stay in your room grinding out random technologies for the next 2 weeks. This fact, in combination with the 84-hour work week that the company that I work for decided to randomly mandate right before Christmas, those are the main reasons that this video may be slightly late. I apologize. But that's besides the point. Back to the main objective. We've just finished our research reactor, meaning that I can have Hidden stare at nuclear material for 8 hours a day and tell me what he figures out. In other breaking news, somebody decided to leave an obscene amount of waste packs right outside my door, and if not taken care of, our lovely neighborhood would start to look like the outside of a Goodwill, so I took care of that swiftly. I had also finished manufacturing radiation suits. Now, Hidden decided to wear the radiation helmet on his chest as opposed to his head. This is a bit of an unconventional method, but he is the expert here, so I'll let him do as he pleases. Now that my employees have their proper PPE equipped, no, I did not inspect to make sure that it was properly secured. I told them to start making the actual nuclear reactor. However, we were attacked by a gang of parrots. I can only assume that they were sent by the impoverished, so I put them down as necessary. Now, whilst I was in the process of assembling a nuclear reactor core, 2 llamas wandered onto my property, and they didn't have owners, so I decided to see what they were hauling. My god, was I surprised. These llamas seemingly came straight from the Middle East, because they were hauling an obscene amount of armor-piercing, high-explosive, and anti-tank ammunition, as well as smoke grenades, and a large quantity of drugs, as llamas usually do. However, as the saying goes, when life gives you lemons, steal all the random drugs and armor-piercing ammunition, so that's exactly what I did. However, with that side objective completed, we finished the reactor core and we're on to assembling the turbine. This was a long and arduous process, but in the end, it was completed by, once again, my fabulous employees, and yes, I ensure that their PPE is being worn correctly the entire time. Now, isn't that thing one glorious piece of machinery to marvel at? Yes, it is. However, I was not allowed to gaze upon my growing infrastructure for too long, for it came to my attention that we were once again low on metal, and you guys know exactly what that means. Another Iron Crusade, and yes, it involved every single employee, including a slave that I brought along. It's a good thing that I pay my employees well. Their salary includes half a loaf of bread and a previously left on the desk open Red Bull. For all of the aspiring entrepreneurs in my audience, I would begin taking notes if I were you. In other news, I was alerted to the presence of 3 more crash-landed survivors. I say 3 because 1 was already dead. Now, I did as any kind human would do, and I immediately rushed over, dismantled their spaceship, stole all the copper wiring on the inside, and left them to die on the field. Once again, I would start taking notes. Now, in a twist of cruel karma, right after this happened, it seemed that I was attacked once more by the impoverished. What karma did not take into account was the fact that I still have a fully automatic grenade launcher, and I'm not afraid to use it against poor people. Can we now take a moment of silence for the impoverished? Yeah, okay, that was long enough. Thank you all. Now, in more pressing news, it was time to attack this ancient danger. I sent in General Xevious with a minigun loaded with uranium-tipped rounds. You would think that it would be nearly impossible for him to die in this encounter. I'm sorry, you would, however, be wrong, for Xevious finds a way to die no matter how well equipped I make him. Now, of course, to keep the shareholders happy, I was forced to cut his salary down to 1/4 of what it previously was, and he now only gets 1 sip out of the Red Bull after I spit in it. Hopefully this will allow him to think back on his actions. Not to worry though, I did experiment and find what I'm going to call alternative means to take care of the problem. There were quite a few casualties. They're definitely going to need to see a therapist after this if they did survive, but nonetheless, our problem has been solved. However, on a more positive note, my nuclear warhead storage room was completed, and I finished production of 7 nuclear bombs that will be used with good intentions and hope in our hearts. I of course had Enigma assemble a radio pack and pair of binoculars to sacrifice one of my other loyal slaves to launch this nuclear bomb directly on top of their head. Somebody has to target it. Also, last minute, I decided that the other bombs were not quite big enough, so I made an even bigger one. Thank you, late-stage capitalism. I am forever in your debt. Literally. However, let's get back to the main attraction, shall we? Nellie has just crash landed onto the impoverished home. You can tell it's quite lavish. Oh my god. Anyways, I had her moving swiftly through the jungle with her pair of binoculars, target directly outside the impoverished front door as they were careening around their front lawn like savages. This information was relayed to Enigma swiftly, and he targeted the spot that Nellie had marked on their front yard. Now please ensue the absolute chaos that was this nuclear bomb on this poor wooden hut. Now would you look at that absolute cinema, and the impoverished finally got what was coming to them. This is a glorious day indeed. Well, thank you all for watching. I'm going to now decimate my entire base. This video took a really long time to record, and honestly it was quite stressful due to the time constraints that I put myself on. If you want a part 2, I'm going to be completely honest with you, only going to happen if this video gets around 300 views. If that happens, part 2 will be coming out. So please, like, subscribe, and have a good night all. I missed you.